Hi guys, welcome or welcome back to a new video of mine. My name is Emily and I love talking about books. So in today's video I will be talking about all the books I read in August. Obviously it's in a month, so it's time for a wrap up. And I'm so excited to talk all about the books that I have read because I've had some pretty good ones in there, especially in the beginning of the month. At the end I was kind of traveling and I was reading a lot of books on my Kindle and listening to audiobooks, and those are always not the best ones, I feel like, because the best ones I want to have physical copies of so I don't read them. So you know. So yeah, but I've had some pretty good ones in there and I'm excited, and I feel like, yeah, it's the end of summer and I'm really sad about it. And yeah, August slipped away like a bottle of wine and I'm really upset about it actually. I was traveling, like I said, and I came home yesterday and I'm filming this wrap up now. I wanted to film it back in the US where I was traveling, but I actually did, but it was so just bad and the lighting just did not. So I'm doing it again. Let's go. Also, before we start, tell me about your favorite book that you've read in August. Comment it down below and I'm excited to see it. So the first book that I read was None Shall Sleep by Ellie Marney, because I've had it on my TBR for such a long time and I was just really in the mood for it. You know, it's a fun YA mystery slash thriller. It was definitely like a more thrilling book than other YA thrillers mysteries I've read, and it was definitely like intense, and I really loved the book. It was set in the 1980s, which I absolutely loved, and there were two teenagers, or they just graduated high school, so I guess, you know, teenagers, and they were working with the FBI to catch a serial killer, which was so interesting and just really cool, and kind of wish that would be me, but also definitely not because traumatized. But yeah, and at moments I literally could not stop reading, and it was late at night and I was like getting so freaked out, which almost never happens, so that was really cool that happened. And yeah, it was definitely like kind of like brutal what happened and very like detailed, but I was thinking that was I thought it was really cool and I really enjoyed the book, and I gave it 4 stars and I would definitely recommend it. And the second one just came out in the series, so I already want to read that book soon. The next book that I read was A Not So Meet Cute by Megan Quinn, and I've read Runaway Groomsman by her a while ago and I actually loved that book so much. It was great. This one, it didn't hit as hard for me. I think it was personal preference because that one was like really like happy and sunshiny and the man was just amazing. I loved him so much and he did so many things for the main character that were just chef's kiss. And this one, he was just really grumpy. I didn't love that so much, and he was just a little bit stupid, and I don't know, I didn't really love it so much, so I gave it 3.5 stars because I still really love the writing of Megan Quinn. So I want to read more of her books, but I don't know. Then I listened to the audiobook of The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware, which was really good audiobook. I'd say I love listening to her audiobooks because they're all like British English and I just love that so much, the accent. This one, it was really good in the beginning because a lot was happening, and then it just kind of like dipped down, I would say, and it got a little repetitive because it was about this cruise that was happening, and one like journalist I think was on that cruise because it was like really like, it was a debut cruise, is that what it's called? I don't really remember. And there were just like a lot of rich people on that cruise. It was really like a small little ship, you know. But then suddenly a woman went missing, but the woman was never actually on the ship. Like, she was not like a person that bought like a room, you know, like she was not written on the list, but she was missing because the journalist saw her getting pushed off the boat, or heard her, I don't remember. And so yeah, she tried to figure out like what happened while they were on the sea, no police. And it was certainly interesting, and crazy shit went down, and the ending was good again. The middle just lost me there a bit, I would say. I was glad I was listening to the audiobook, and so I gave it 3.5 stars again. Then I read The Weather Girl because it was raining so much in Germany, and I was like, this book is literally, it has rain on the cover. It's like, that's perfect. I should read that right now. And so I did, and I absolutely loved it. Like, I love Rachel Lynn Solomon's writing style. I'm so excited for her new release, and it was just making me so happy to be reading this happy, comforting romance book that was just really, you know, happy. Like, it definitely dealt with some heavy topics, but in a very like light and positive way, you know. And I could have binged it in honestly one sitting. It was so good, and I absolutely loved it. And I love the two main characters. It was basically Ari, who is a weather meteorologist on TV, and then Russell, who does sports reporter. And they were so cute together and wholesome, and I absolutely just love them and their interactions, I would say. They were just really cute and wholesome. So really big recommendation, and I gave it 4.25 stars. So yeah. Then I listened to the audiobook More Than You'll Ever Know by Katie Gutierrez. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And that was basically a thriller about a woman who was having an affair, or not actually an affair, she was married to two people. One in Texas, I think, and one in Mexico. And she was always switching between the two lives, I would say. And she actually had kids, you know, like, yeah. And then one husband kills the other one. And you're like, ooh, shit. And that kind of sucks, obviously. And also, yeah, so the one husband goes to prison for killing the other one, and then a reporter finds out about it like years later, like a true crime reporter. Like, that happened in the 80s, I think, and now it's like 2020, you know. So yeah, and she wants to know what actually happened, wants to hear the woman, like, her story, why she had an affair or like two husbands and stuff like that. It was definitely interesting. And I kind of like that it was like the woman having an affair, not like the other way around, or like having two lives, you know, what you usually hear about. I feel like more often you hear about it that way. I don't know. Anyways, and it was really interesting, but it was kind of slow at some points. And it was like a long, for like 14 hours, so a thriller. It was kind of long, so you know, lost me at some point, so I gave it 3.5 stars again. Then I read What Happens After Midnight by Kelsey Walter, and I absolutely love her writing style and just everything she does, and I've loved the summer of Broken Rules so much, and I was so excited for this new release, and it was hitting almost as hard as the last one. This book is about the end of senior year, and there's a prank happening every year at this boarding school, and this time the prankster is the ex-boyfriend of Lily Hopper, who is the main character of this book. And so the prankster at this school obviously always gets a team to help with his big prank, and then this team is Lily, so she's working with her ex-boyfriend to prank the school. And sadly it was all happening in like one night mostly, which was definitely really fun, I would say. But sometimes I just wish it would have gone on for longer, you know. I wish we would have seen more of the friends in the school and just the life, not just like 48 hours, you know what I mean. And I wish the breakup, why they broke up, wouldn't have been that, like, you know, communication would have been great, but also they are in high school, so it makes kind of sense. But yeah, I really enjoyed this book, and I had so many Taylor Swift references, like at least 20 or something, and I personally love that, and it was so fun. And she, like the author said, she's a Swiftie, so yeah, I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I gave it a rating of 4 stars. Then I read probably one of my most anticipated reads of the year, which was Riley Sager's new book, The Only One Left, which was so fun and absolutely amazing and a great thriller. Like, I've heard some mixed reviews about this one, but I personally absolutely loved it. Like, it was so good. and I had a great time reading. I love Riley Sager's writing style and his plot twists. There were always happening so many plot twists left and right, and again with this one. And it's about a woman who killed her whole family back in the 1920s, and she didn't really explain anything like why it happened. And then yeah, now it's like 80 years later or something. No, 60, I don't know, I don't remember. Yeah, I think it's 60 years later, and it takes place in the 80s or something. No, 100% sure. It was a while back. And there's this woman who goes to this house to care for the old woman because she's in a wheelchair and can't really do a lot of things. So she goes over to this house. She's living in the house with her and some help, and things spiral and kind of go downwards. And also she's trying to figure out what happened years back, and it's so interesting and so gripping, and I absolutely love the setting and everything about it. So I gave it 4.5 stars. It was a really good thriller. In that time I listened to the audiobook of This Time Tomorrow by Emma Schropp, which is a fun little story about time traveling in New York City, which was really fun. I love a New York City setting, and this one, it was just as fun. It was just a bit pointless, like the reason why she was time traveling. Like, it felt like the big wow factor kind of was missing, but it was still a really fun book, and I would definitely recommend it. It was just nothing crazy, you know. So yeah, I gave that one 3.75 stars because it was so wholesome, you know. And then I listened to Twisted Lies. I feel like at some point I had to read it some way, and I couldn't bring myself to read it just because there were so many other books I want to read more. But I listened to the audiobook because I had so big FOMO, and I was just as I was expecting. I didn't love it. It was something better than I was expecting, and I enjoyed some parts, but I just didn't like the main character and how he was like, touch her and I kill you, and I'm so broody about like so smart, and like I don't know, I just personally didn't absolutely love it so much. But it was definitely entertaining, I would say, as an audiobook, and maybe listen to the rest of the story as an audiobook as well. I don't know, but I gave it 2 stars. Then I re-listened to the audiobook of What If It's Us, which I've already read a couple of times. It's one of my comfort books, actually. I do have the physical copy right here, which is kind of fun. So I listened to this one as an audiobook, which was definitely really fun. Like, I love reading books through audiobooks, and especially this one because it's so fun. It takes place again in New York City. Arthur just moved to New York City for the summer, and Ben is living there full time, and they just have like a really cute meet cute at the post office, and then they never see each other again. Like, they don't give out names or numbers, and so Arthur is trying to find Ben because they had this connection, and yeah, a romance enkindles, I would say. And I feel like this one is just really wholesome and cute, and I definitely didn't like it as much as I did last time, just because I feel like it's very YA and I got older, obviously. But it's still very cute, and I gave it 4 stars. Then I read a really exciting book, and that was City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. I finally entered the whole Shadowhunters universe, and it was really fun. I really enjoyed my time reading, and it is like 500 pages, but it was interesting the whole way through it, and I remember so much of it still, and it's like a month later, so I feel like that's really positive about the book. And it's about Clary, who doesn't know anything about like vampires, werewolves, demons, that kind of thing, and then she suddenly can see things, and she learns about those people called Shadowhunters who hunt demons and stuff like that, and she kind of goes into the whole world, and there's romance happening, and then also her her mother gets kidnapped and she's trying to figure out what happened and why it's happening and everything like that. And it's, I feel like, just a really good start into the series, and I really liked it. I know I'm like 10 years late to the game. I know friends who've watched the series because it is a series, so that was kind of fun, like remembering them talking about it like 5 years ago, and I'm just like, oh my god, that's actually the same, like connecting the dots. So that has been fun. But I really liked it, and I'm excited to keep reading the series. Then I read on my Kindle one by one on the flight to New York City. Sorry. Yeah, that one was really fun. Thriller by Freida McFadden again. It was really entertaining because people were dying one by one, as the title says, and that was entertaining, let's be honest. And you were wondering like what's happening, because there's like this group of friends, like middle-aged friends, who go on this camping trip, and they start, their car dies and they walk around the woods to find the hotel, and then they were dying and staying in the woods for a night because they can't find anything and everything's just going wrong, and it's just very entertaining, I would say, you know. But there were some parts I was like weirded out, especially with the main character and her husband. That was a little bit weird, but yeah, otherwise really entertaining. And then I read The Light We Lost by Jill Santopolo, and that one takes place in New York, and I would say it's definitely entertaining and a very, no, actually no, this one is very weird. I would say like it weirded me out almost immediately, because they meet, like the two main characters, they meet on 9/11, like the day 9/11 happened in New York City, and they saw like everything happening from afar, I would say, from their university spot, and then they fell in love and like making love and stuff like that on that day, like instantly. And it just felt a little bit respectful, and no, it just felt a little bit unrespectful, and that's what I was gonna say. And I didn't love that. And then they had this great love story, like amazing, 10 out of 10, you could compare to nobody else's, they were saying it. And yeah, but at the same time they didn't work out because they had so different kind of dreams. And then Gail was moving to Afghanistan to photograph about war and stuff, and she was staying back in New York to live out her dreams. And then she fell in love again, married, had children, but she was still thinking about Gabe, and kind of like, I feel like it was emotional cheating, I would say. And yeah, it was definitely a really different kind of book, but I personally didn't love it. And then I listened to The Summer Place by Jennifer Weiner, and that one was a really good book. I loved it so much. It was a great summer book taking place in New York City, I know, and in Cape Cod, Martha's Vineyard, I think, yeah, Martha's Vineyard, which was really fun. I love that aspect. And they had, I love books that have like multiple POVs and multiple kind of storylines, but they are all integrated because it's one big family in that aspect, which was really fun. And yeah, I just really enjoyed it. It was very wholesome, I would say, and a really good audiobook as well. Gave that one 4 stars. Then I listened to the audiobook of Meant to Be by Emily Griffin, and that was again taking place in New York City and in the Hamptons. And I was in the Hamptons at that time, which was honestly amazing, like seeing the places kind of, and like seeing those big houses. Like, I don't know if you've seen the Hamptons, but they are gigantic, like the rich of the rich live there. We just drove through, and they were having a house there, like a gigantic house, and I was like, oh my goodness, crazy shit. But basically it's a retelling of a Kennedy story, which I did not know a lot about before I read the book. It's, I think, about John F. Kennedy, like Jr., you know, and his love story. And it's a really fun story, and it begins like when they were really young, and their storylines kind of like is like dual, like they don't meet right away, but then they do, and they fall in love, and it's really cute. There are some struggles because obviously she is the Kennedys. They are really famous family, you know, like American royalties, and she, the female main character, she is coming from a not so good family, you know. There was some the female main character, her family was kind of like more poor, had less money, and her family wasn't as happy. There were some struggles between her and her stepdad and her mother and that kind of thing, and she was really struggling, like, so she was really struggling like being together with this infamous person that is like in the media and all that time, and then, you know, her. And yeah, I just really liked it, and it was a really good romance, and I would definitely recommend it. Then I listened to the audiobook of One of Us Is Dead, which was actually horrendous. I did not enjoy it one bit. It was just, well, it was rich people drama, I would say, in Georgia, I don't know, you know, southern state in the US. And it was entertaining, but it was taking place in the salon, beauty salon, and all those rich women met up and talked and like gossiped, and that was all about it. And then one of them is dead. Like, you don't know who is dead, you just learn about it throughout the story, and then like how she died and why and everything like that. And yeah, I would say it was okay, but just kind of boring, and I didn't love it, so I gave it 2 stars. And then as the last book that I read in August was The 5-Star Weekend, which I absolutely loved so much. It was basically my beach read for the summer, because I read it mostly at the beach, like I was taking it everywhere with me, you know, so that was kind of fun. I started the book in Nantucket, and it takes place in Nantucket, which was very fun, you know. And I've read so many of Elin Hilderbrand's books in the past, and like finally seeing how Nantucket actually looks, and like seeing the places that are talked about in this book was so fun. Like, I made a whole video about it, and it will probably come out after this one, and it was just a lot of fun, I would say, and I really enjoyed it. It's about this woman, and her husband dies suddenly in a car accident, and she's obviously mourning him, but to get out of her sadness, I guess, she plans this 5-star weekend in her hometown Nantucket, and she invites 4 best friends out of 4 different stages of her life. And yeah, there's a lot of drama happening when she invites all those friends, and it was definitely just super entertaining seeing all that like unravel, but in this beautiful atmosphere that is Nantucket. And I personally absolutely loved it, and I gave it 4 stars. But yeah, I love it, and I love Nantucket so much, and I miss it so much. And yeah, those were all the books that I have read in August. I'm really sad August is over, but I'm so excited for all the fall reads that are going to be coming, so be excited about that. And yeah, I'm gonna go back to bed because I'm so tired and jet lagged and just feel absolutely dead, but I just wanted to bring out that video right now. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope I see you in the next one, and